Welcome back, everybody, to another Toolbox Extra on the Educational AD podcast. We're going to be right back with this week's guest, but as always, we want to give a shout out to my sponsors. Now, you've heard me say over 1,000 times, these are all great companies. I used them as an AD. You should be using them too. So take 3 minutes, listen to these shout outs, then listen to our interview, then go and visit these sponsors because you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame for their support. Go to their website and take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's a great way to show off your school record boards or your school's Hall of Fame. And if you put one of their units in your gym lobby or your main school hallway, it's going to be a magnet for kids, for coaches. How about sponsors? Check out vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to say thank you to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and let their team turn you into a social media marketing guru. Social media posts to celebrate wins, newsletters, branding using your logos, your colors. Their templates are so flexible and it's so easy to use. Even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com to get started. That's Gipper.com. We want to say thanks to Home Campus. Scheduling, rosters, results, Home Campus does it all and does it better. Their eligibility and clearance platform alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com, make sure you tell them you heard about it on the podcast, and find out how they can make your life as an AD so much easier. We want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of your stakeholders, student athletes, coaches, parents. The information and data that comes back on these surveys is incredibly valuable, and very often it's 98% positive. Check out athleticsurveys.com. We want to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. My assistant AD, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio program. And here's a cool feature. While they earn their degree, they're also completing 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We want to say thank you to Hometown, your trusted partner for growing revenue, selling tickets. Hometown is really changing the game. Whether you're an AD, a head coach, even a principal, Hometown is going to show you how to save time, how to raise more money, and how to bring your community together. Go to hometown.com to check out all of their features for schools, for clubs, for organizations. And as always, don't forget to tell them you heard about it on the podcast. Let's say thank you to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. You've heard me say many times, probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com today. We also want to thank Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an athletic director, I made sure we were a Huddle school, and our coaches, our student athletes, even our parents just love the Huddle platform. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. And we want to say thank you to Snap Mobile, particularly Snap Raise. If you've ever spent weeks and weeks on a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results, well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. We used it at our school with tremendous success, and so will you. Go to SnapRaise, check out their other great features. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's SnapRaise. Go to snapraise.com to get started today. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD, one of our Toolbox Extra features. And we've got one of our long time, I can say a friend of the show, back with us. Longtime listeners will certainly recognize the name Dr. Kechia Rowles. She is a certified master athletic administrator, and she's the longtime trainer and athletic director. She's currently the athletic director for the Rockdale County School District up in Georgia. Does a tremendous job, very active at the state and at the national level. We're going to talk about that more in this segment. But Kechia, welcome back to the Education Lady podcast.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks for having me again. It's always a pleasure to come and chat with you on the podcast.
Oh no, it's fun for me. I don't know how much fun it is for you guys, but you were one of our original toolbox contributors
Mhm.
when we started this whole thing, over 6 years ago,
Mhm.
and now the fourth edition of the toolbox is actually going to be dropping here in a couple of days from people listening to this, and we're already doing interviews that are going to go into the fifth edition of the toolbox. And as I mentioned to listeners, Keisha's been back a number of times to present, really a leader in our profession. So excited to have her back today. Keisha, I'm going to shut up. What do you have for our listeners on this segment?
So today, just wanted to talk about how we can enhance the compliance within our athletic departments and to look at how we can leverage the instructional platforms that we already use for professional development, not only for our coaches, but also for our student athletes. So we know we deal with compliance all day. And so when you think of some of the instructional platforms that you already utilize in your district, like your Infinite Campus or your Canvas, because those, in essence, those are like our academic ecosystems. Like that's where all of the student information goes back and forth from the instructional piece to emergency contacts. All of that happens within those platforms, and that's really how we communicate with our parents for our students. And so, how can we use what's available within those platforms to accent and enhance how we go about the operations, within our athletic departments. And so what I want to note though is that even in utilizing these particular platforms, while we do know that they are FERPA compliant, we have to be careful about some of the medical information that we put in there so that we don't, upload some things that other people may have access in regards to HIPAA. But one of the other challenges that I'll just be transparent about before I even go into how in our district we utilize them is that it's really going to be limited to those that are actual employees of your district that have an act email address to be able to access these platforms. So if you utilize, community coaches and lay coaches, they may not have the same access. So you may have to think of another route, but just looking at those that are within your school system, within your educational environment, how they can have access to these tools. And so one of the ways that we really go about, how we utilize it is it helps us to streamline the process, right? And so we're dealing with a lot of compliance. We're dealing with eligibility. We're dealing with player development, staff development, professional development. And we just have so much of just the volume of data and records and documentation that we have to keep up with. But when you look at these platforms that are already there, it's a centralized location. So everything is in one spot. It helps with the accountability piece. So now you can get automated reminders of when documentation is about to expire or when a coach needs to upload some information. So that's another piece in there that helps us. So again, I'm talking specifically about Infinite Campus and our Canvas course. And so in looking at it, not just from the improvement of the accountability piece and the automation of the streamline, but it also helps with communication and documentation. This is the platform that we're already using to communicate with our parents about student grades, about student discipline. So we can also leverage that because we know the parents are checking grades. So if we know that's the platform that we're already on, instead of having them download another communication app, we can do the same thing in this particular particular platform. And then it fosters that professional development piece. So if you have a student athlete or a coach that has an area of growth, you can always assign NFHS courses that are specific to that area of growth that they're looking at. So that fosters, again, that professional and individual development for your student athletes and your coaches. So by integrating these platforms, you are essentially enhancing your daily operations, you're enhancing the communication with your parents and also within your administrative staff within your building, and just helping with the overall efficiency of compliance and how you go about monitoring and making sure that you are accountable within your athletic programs. So specifically in Infinite Campus, what do we do there? It's centralized data, right? Like it is the motherboard of where all of our information is for our parents, for our student athletes. And so it's easy to access and it's easy to manage. And so you're really getting that real time enrollment. So you don't have to ask, has this student officially enrolled? Is this student cleared? You have that information right there within that platform. Also, you can get real-time data. So for student attendance, so if your district has specific attendance policies that a student must be present in order to participate, you can check attendance there. You can monitor their grades, academics there to see who's on track, who's passing, who's not passing. And you get that documentation instantaneously because, again, it's the real-time reporting. Now, we can't do anything about teachers who don't put grades in on time. All right. But for what's in there and what's being counted, we definitely can look at and monitor that academic progress of our student athletes. When it comes to discipline, so if you have an athlete that has, you know, done something that is unfavorable in the school eye and is under some type of discipline, you know whether they're in school suspension or out of school suspension, where they may not be as honest and forthcoming about what has happened. You still have access to know what is going on with that particular student. The other piece in that is within Infinite Campus, you can create rosters. You can have specific tabs on there for specific athletes. So the emergency contact information, it's going to be what's ever in Infinite Campus. So there's no question to whether this is the correct phone number or this. We're getting the same information that the school uses to contact those parents. You can put a tab on there to verify that that student athlete has insurance. You can put reminders on there for the expiration date of their physicals because there are athletic tabs that can be built in there. We just have to leverage what's already included in the platform because they're traditionally going to be used for the academic side of it and the instructional side, but there may be some other benefits that come from us leveraging what's already there. The other piece in that is it minimizes the manual input errors. So if you're operating out of a spreadsheet or you're operating where you have to do manual entries, when it's uploaded in here, we know they've gone through the process of student registration. They've gone through the process of the registrar within your building. So there have been multiple eyes that have already been on those data entry points so that we're getting, again, that real time information. And then another piece that, again, it's the communication. It is really enhancing that communication piece between our coaches, our athletes, our parents, and our administrators to ensure that across the board, that we are only allowing students that have met the expectations of our district and state policies out there to participate. Now, for the other parts of Infinite Campus are the automated rosters. So you can create rosters within Infinite Campus based on your sport. So again, looking at if you know you have all of your basketball players, you can put them in a course for basketball. And now that's your roster. That's where you're doing your daily attendance check. So that's another piece of just layering on what's already there. And you're just using it for that supervision piece. If they didn't come to practice that day, now if they get in some trouble, from a legality and liability standpoint, they weren't with you. They were absent from practice that day. So that transparency, that accountability piece, it's all included in there. And then it's really just about being proactive. So you can identify areas of those alerts or a physical is about to expire, those alerts of a student has missed a certain amount of days and now they have to be under an attendance contract. You're being proactive because you have access to that information prior to. So now we become preventative instead of being reactive to us identifying or potentially being caught in a situation where we've allowed an athlete that was either under some type of academic limitations or some discipline infractions to participate when in fact they should have had their participation being limited at that time. um, for Canvas course. So Canvas is our instructional piece. So this is where our teachers upload their lesson plans, they do their grading, it's the feedback that they give. So again, it's a very robust platform that we use for our instruction. But I, in turn, this year created a coaches compliance course within Canvas that our coaches are completing so that now those specific tabs that I'm looking for, we're looking at have they uploaded and completed all the course requirements from our state association that are needed to be qualified for coach. So we're doing all of that, some other things with our individual district in those requirements. But from a student perspective and looking at that, you can customize tabs. So if you are having an athlete that has some issues or with personal conduct, with, sportsmanship, with how to act in a game, you can assign again those NFHS Learn courses within that Canvas platform. You can put the link in there so it makes it easy for them. They click the link, they take the course, and then a next assignment that you can have for them is to upload the certificate they get at the end. You go in, verify that it's a certificate, and in essence, you give a quote unquote grade. So now you verify that particular assignment or task has been completed by them. So again, it just helps with tracking what you are essentially inspecting what you're expecting. So if you make an assignment, whether it's to a coach or to a student athlete, you're able to track that that's been done. And so now, from an accountability and an auditing standpoint, if you are having, say it's just been a horrible season, sportsmanship has been out of control. Now you can show that you were being proactive, that you assigned this sportsmanship course, you assigned this how to be respectful to officials. You've assigned these courses, and you can show that data to say that 100% of my team completed this. So we were being, having preventative measures in place. Unfortunately, they did not work. But again, that just helps you again in looking at being transparent with your programs, and also again showing that you took some initiative to identify and problem solve beforehand. Now, the all of the courses together, so collectively with them and what they do, you are assigning again your Infinite Campus, your Canvas courses, reviewing the rosters, you're checking attendance, you are assigning those modules that can be done, and you're just streamlining that compliance piece that you don't have to have a Xerox copy over here or a folder in your inbox over here. You can have everything in one collective area, and you are again able to show that your programs are in compliance. And if they are not, you're able to provide feedback within those platforms. So again, we're using the same ones that our teachers use to communicate with our parents. So if there is another issue or concern, we know that we're communicating in that platform. And again, no knock against some of the other sports communication platforms, but now it's all in one space. So you can hit download, you can get the whole, the transcript of how you've been communicating, what the issues were, and it just helps you if you're ever in a spot or position where you have to defend a decision that you've made as an athletic administrator, or again defending your coach. And so I talked earlier about my specific course that I created. So I'll be transparent, we do use a different electronic medical platform. So all of our physicals and that aspect is in a different platform, but that's not to say that you can't utilize these two platforms to track some of this information for you. So with the course that I created, I put all the links for all of our district and all of our state required courses. So we have a rules clinic that every sport coach has to complete. So the link for that is there. When they're done, they can upload the copy of their completion certificate. It can be verified, and now it's in one. You can roster them as well. So for me, I can print out, and I have all of our coaches that have our at Rockdale email address are in this course. So I can at any point, I can download a spreadsheet that shows who is compliant and who is not. So that helps with us. I also link the concussion in sports and the sudden cardiac arrest courses from NFHS Learn, and they have to complete, upload that documentation. They upload a copy of their CPR cards. They also, for our state, there's a requirement for if you have an athlete that has epilepsy or diabetes. So there's a specific training for that. If a coach has to take that training, they can upload the certificate there. So again, you see how it helps us with the compliance from a compliance standpoint that we're able to verify that our coaches have completed all of that required expectations and requirements from our state and district, from CPR to, again, the sudden cardiac arrest to the concussion. And so it just helps us. And so an additional module that I have in there is our state association uses another platform where they upload their schedules. Also, I put the link in there on how to create an account because not everyone is a seasoned coach to our district, so they may need those instructions on how to create those accounts. Now, the course that I created was in conjunction not only with our athletic department, but also with our legal counsel, our human resources, and our business services. And so we created the acknowledgement and review checkbox and signature page where we uploaded the emergency action plans, the handbook, the 14 legal duties of coaches, the code of conduct, and our financial guidance form for coaches. So now they can essentially click the link, read the document, and then they're affixing their signature on that acknowledgement page showing that I acknowledged, that I reviewed, and all of the legality that goes with that. So if there is another concern, well, what did you do to educate them? Now we have their signature affixed. We have that acknowledgement that they were provided this guidance to know right or wrong. And again, that was in conjunction with all of those departments. And it helps because, again, thinking of paper. So before, each one of those documents would have had to have a signature affixed, and then it went into their folder. And now it's just in one place, and you can real time check, verify who has and who has not completed the requirements that you have. And so for anyone that's trying to do it, one, you know, talk to your IT department and see what you actually have. The coaches can go in Infinite Campus right now. If you use that, they can create those rosters. They can start doing attendance. If you use Canvas, they can go on in. You can create and assign the modules, look at it. If it's professional development, whether it's internal or external links that you're providing, and then you can start to assign those courses. So it's really easy to implement if you already are leveraging and using these platforms. And one of the big things that we can take away again is showing from everything is about, key performance indicators, like what else can it show? So we can show the percentage of our athletes who have completed their documentation, coaches that are in compliance. This way, we're reducing those GHSA eligibility violations where you had a coach that didn't complete this. So now we got to submit, self-report their names. There's a fine that's affiliated or associated with that. So now it helps us to release or reduce some of those fines that we would normally get for some of those eligibility violations because we can proactively look real time and see what needs to be done from that. And then from a matrix standpoint, what I'll talk about, what we're going to allude to a little bit later is from a coach perspective and looking at how their team operations are, like what percentage of your team has completed these specific tasks on time. And so again, just using the data that's available for you to enhance the operational efficiency of your department in general. And so, next steps, if you use them, get with your IT, get with your digital learning specialists in your building, and just see what other, if you don't use these platforms and you use another one, like what are some of those features that they haven't unlocked within the platform that would be able to help you with your operations within your athletic department. So get the training initially with them, of course, before you try to roll it out to your department, but get the training, become proficient in the tools that are available, and then try to roll it out. You can roll it out with one team first, one season. Test it, see how the process works, get the feedback from them to determine if this is a go, a small group first. If it's something that you really think that your program could be beneficial for, then great. You've already have the programs. Now let's just make the programs work for us. And that's all I got, Jake.
Well, you probably saw me furiously scribbling down notes. I mean, great stuff, and it's a topic that it's so foundationally important to ADs, but I don't think it gets talked about enough. It's not, let's say, it's not the sexy stuff, but if you're not if you're not doing the job in compliance and eligibility, you're not doing anything else.
Mhm.
And I can actually speak to the success. Not that you need any endorsement from me, but at my school in Tallahassee, we were a private school. Long story short, we'd come up with this idea as coaches to acknowledge our scholar athletes, student athletes' success in the classroom. And so we're a private school. Our kids, they're all going to college. So we want a really high bar. And again, long story short, I met with our IT guy, told him what we wanted to do. And so he set up that I could access scholar athletes. We had a separate one for the middle school kids, and then we had one for
Mhm.
the upper school, the high school. And so at any time of the semester, but I would let our teachers know, hey, I'm going to be accessing and naming scholar athletes on whatever, November 17th. Please, have your grades current. Um, I would have a list of every kid that was over that threshold, and I could let their parents know. We were very cryptic about it. Hey, your son or daughter is going to be receiving acknowledgement or awards program, and we did that for the people that were getting the MVPs as well as for the scholar athletes. And we gave out a ton of scholar athletes awards. It was probably one of the best things that we ever did as a department, but it was simply through an existing platform where the IT guy and a few keystrokes
Mhm.
that I didn't have to do had it all set up. I love your idea about using the attendance platform to create a course, basketball, football, lacrosse, whatever it is, and use that as attendance, and maybe even use it to document. Billy had a dust up today with Johnny or something like that, and so you've got that record. There's a lot of great platforms out there, as you mentioned. One of them is a sponsor for this podcast, and they do a great job. But I think the last thing a teacher, a coach, a parent wants to see is that email. Hey, we've got a new platform that's going to do X, Y, and Z. And they're just, oh, are you kidding me? And again, they are great
Mhm.
platforms. They do a great job. But if you can, and I love your term, leverage an existing resource that you already have and get more out of it. Wow, what a great idea.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Keisha, I know you're also going to be presenting at NADC this year. Can you give our listeners a little heads up and maybe steer them in your direction for a course or a workshop?
Absolutely. So I'll be doing a workshop along with Rendell Jackson from Metro Atlanta APS School District, and we are talking about evaluating coaches, best practices in evaluating coaches. And so one of my segment will be about how do we use compliance and these types of resources to look at how we're evaluating our coaches. Because again, you're getting KPIs, you're able to get all of these data points, and you can use that in your evaluation process of your coaches.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a great one. Um, just to even things out, I'm going to be teaching, as I always do, I'm going to be teaching 701. That's one of the middle school courses. So if you want to add to your toolbox, if you will, make sure you go and see Dr. Kechia Rowles' workshop on compliance, and then maybe don't sneak in, sign up for it, pay for it, uh, the 701 middle school course. Keisha, always great to hang out with you. Looking forward to seeing you in person down in Tampa. Before you go,
Yes.
if one of our listeners wants to reach out, pick your brain a little bit, find out a little bit more about how they might leverage their resources. What's the best way they can get a hold of you?
Best way is email. So my email is KROWLES at rockdale.k12.ga.us.
Well, Keisha, thanks again for sharing. All the best in the remaining, let's say, weeks before NADC. And looking forward to seeing you down in Tampa.
You too, Jake.
For listeners, we look forward to seeing you in Tampa. And just a reminder that we upload the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this segment just about every week and just about every day. We try to share stories and some best practices from the world of athletics. So please join us again on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. Kechia Rowles, one of the best in our business. Make sure you reach out, add her to your network, and make sure you reach out to these sponsors. As you've heard me say many, many times, I used every single one of these when I was an AD, still have a relationship with them, and I strongly encourage you to do the same. Reach out to Gipper. Find them at gipper.com. Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. You'll find them at sidelineinteractive.com. Home Campus, go to homecampus.com. Tell them you heard about it on the podcast. They'll give you a nice discount. Vital Signs Wall of Fame, touchscreen video boards. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. If you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. It's Snap Raise. Go to snapraise.com. Huddle, as a football coach, I used Huddle. As an AD, we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com for more info. Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. My assistant AD, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio program. Hometown, go to hometown.com. Ticketing, website construction, even fundraising. You find it at Hometown. And athletic surveys, go to athleticsurveys.com. As always, we appreciate you listening. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.